All right, joined by Daniel Hemric and Tiff Daniels. Tiff is our short track expert. And Daniel, you've been winning a couple races this year, man. A couple years ago, you came to Charlotte Motor Speedway, won the Legends Million, the first and the biggest payout for the Legends Million, and it kind of put you on the map. I know last year wasn't exactly what you were looking for. It's kind of up and down, trying to find some rides, but you found a home, man. Tell me, where are you at, and what are you winning races in?
Yeah, like you said, we definitely struggled for pretty much the whole last season trying to find a stable situation. In the beginning of this year, we hooked up with Scott No Racing, actually based out of Indiana, and I've been running the Jake's Tour, and we only call that home for the last 7 races, and we got about 7 more to go, so hopefully we can close the deal off strong like we started.
Is it 14 races for the whole year?
Yeah, 14.
Is it a Midwest deal if they're out of Indiana?
It's kind of in between. You run, Indiana, Ohio, said this ORP. We go there a couple times. Winchester. There's a lot of cool racetracks.
Where are you from?
Napa, North Carolina.
So do people understand you up there?
Barely.
Okay.
Yeah, I get a couple
struggling
weird looks.
with it.
Yeah, kind of like a lot of people that come in, down here, from out of state, look at them the same way. I get the same looks there.
So those are super late model cars. So similar to like a pass south
Yeah, pretty
type
much.
car.
Pretty much.
Could you take that car and go pass south race with it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that a good car for him to learn on, Tiff? Tell me about this.
Definitely. Anything with a super late model, you've got a lot of horsepower and a pretty light car, so you definitely learn a lot of throttle control, early car control, and you're racing with guys that are tough racers, so I'd say it's definitely a good prep for anything you do here on out.
I think one thing that people would be surprised about is stock car racing in the Midwest is actually pretty darn popular. When you think about guys like Kenseth and Quapple that came out of the Midwest, and a bunch of other racers that came out of that area, we kind of always associate that area with the USAC, the World of Outlaws, the IndyCar stuff, but a lot of people that really like to go late model racing up there. So I'm assuming you have some pretty good competition. Who's the big dog in that series?
Really, the biggest surprise to myself was Anderson Bowen, 14-year-old kid out of Georgia. He's got, former late model standout Joey Clanton as his crew chief. So
yeah.
Joey's very sharp, and the kid's been very fast everywhere we've been. He's been our biggest competition, and this past week I really think he had us covered, and the heat got to him a little bit. But I mean, it was a brawl all the way down to the end, and it was tough.
So it was a physical issue that let you win.
I felt like that was our only upper hand. I mean, he had us covered, and I guess with 25 to go, his guys came on the radio and said he just got way too hot. I mean, it was one of the hottest races I've ever been a part of. But
yeah,
like I said, I guess when you got to dig down the deepest.
Yeah. One, as a young kid, you're probably, at 14, you're probably not running and doing all the hydration and stuff. Like
exactly. Yeah, we talked about it after the race. He actually came up to me and asked me kind of some stuff he could be doing.
Oh,
so
that's good.
Try to give him a little bit of headsway, because I've been in his situation where you have been the one to fall out, so that's never a good deal.
But not too much.
Yeah, you can't help him too much. I mean, of course, I didn't mind at all.
How did you come up with this opportunity? I mean, I'm assuming you weren't networking with teams in Indiana, so did a friend of a friend hook you up with this deal?
Pretty much. I was running for Jeff Foltz on and off races here and there over the last 2 or 3 years. And one of his buddies he grew up racing with from Ohio, they ran Winchester together growing up. And he actually came down to visit, and it was just handshake, nice to meet you. And it turned into, hey, one day I'm going to have you drive my race car. Well, you hear that a lot, And actually, I went to Jeff to Winchester, and the guy ended up getting serious, bought a car. Went and ran one race for him, and it's been nonstop ever since.
Yeah, how many times do you get that? I want you to drive my race car, and then you show up to put a seat in.
Work out. It's a miracle.
Oh yeah, it's unreal.
So you've won 5 races so far this year, and you have 7 left.
7 left.
I'm assuming you're in the points lead?
Yeah, not by much. That's why everybody says, "Oh man, you must be killing them in the
Really?
series." Yeah, there's a lot of qualifying points, and we haven't qualified great. And we've sat on 2 poles, but our other, we've had like a 16th to 12th, and you have qualifying points for that series, and the qualifying points breakdown is like 10 points for the pole, 8, and it goes down. Like I said, top 5 only get points. We've only been in the top 5 3 times. Well, Anderson and Joey, they've qualified in the top 5 pretty much every race, so he's been able to maintain pretty well. That's
an interesting deal when you think about the year that Justin Lofton and what was his name, Kligerman, went for the championship in ARCA. It came down to qualifying points, and Lofton won because of qualifying points. It is cool because if there's no points associated, and if you can come from 20th and win every weekend, you put 0 effort into that mock qualifying run. You don't go out there and run as hard and potentially wreck your race car or hurt your chances. but it's cool that they're putting some points at it.
Yeah, honestly, the first 2 races, we won the first race. We qualified like 6th, and I thought, hey, cool, we'll be leading the points at the first event. And just pull up to check everything after that past weekend, and I'm 2nd. I was like, kind of confused. I had no idea. I really didn't know anything about it because actually I'd ran a Southern Modified Tour race the night before, so I didn't have any idea about the series or anything going into it the next day. So
nice.
I was, kind of a shock to me, and then it took us a couple races to get our qualifying deal better. But like I said, that's been the one thing to keep everybody closer to us, but we just got to keep working on it.
Okay, as a young driver, and we've got a lot of young drivers that watch, we do a driver development series with our owner, Steve. Obviously the big money race was the thing that put you on the map and jumped you into the fray of all these rides. But with a year off, a lot of times in racing, a year off is kind of a death sentence. That's it.
Absolutely.
How did you stay on the map? Did you network? Were you calling people? Did you just show up at the racetrack? What did you do that kept you in a positive light?
Just being at the racetrack, whether I was racing or going to help, or Kinsey Russ, and I was with them every weekend. Them, her, Jeff Foltz, people that have had a lot of influence in the sport, like Jeff, and like I said, just being at the racetrack, that's to me has been the biggest thing throughout my career. And just
so you
hands to beat people.
You didn't just show up when you were driving. You'd show up and spot. You'd show
absolutely.
up and wrench. You'd show up and just hang out and let people know you still wanted to drive.
Yeah, that's besides driving, that's my biggest thing is working on the cars, and whether it's there to coach somebody or whatnot, I really enjoy it, because at the end of the day, when you see somebody like Kinsey go from the year she had 2 years ago to winning races last year to help build that's really cool to see that and be part of it. So I really have a passion for that, and like I said, just being at the racetrack, that's been the biggest thing to keep me kind of in the light of everything.
Sometimes we lose track of how fun everything we're doing is, and we look too much at the future. So I'm kind of hoping you don't have an answer for this, but what's the next step? Are you looking at any ARCA or anything? Or are you just going to try to win this championship and enjoy it?
Yeah, I've got that a lot since the last couple of races that we ran. The beginning of the year, the first goal was to do this deal, do it 100%, and give it all we had. So right now, that's the main focus, and if it all works out, we'll go from there.
Good.
And you said you were running a Southern Modified Tour race. What else have you been running? Kind of compare going right from modified car to a super late.
It's been kind of a crazy year. Like I said, we've ran a bunch of Southern and Northern Tour modified races, along with this Jake's car. Running the summer shootout here at Short Motor Speedway on Mondays and Tuesdays. Jumping in a go-kart on the weekends. Anything we can do to stay in the seat. Like I said, just I feel like somebody actually they said you remind me of a young Ken Schrader. Back in the day, he'd do whatever it took to fly across the country to race from night to night, and that's all I want to do is just race.
That's cool. And you feel like even the go-karts keep you sharp.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Those guys are the toughest of them all. Like I said, you get used to sitting and riding for 50 laps, and you go off in the corner, the guy drives inside of you in a go-kart. That's a whole nother story, but it keeps you on top of it.
Well, congrats on everything, man. I'm shocked to hear that you're running in the Midwest, and I hope that they start understanding what you're saying. Maybe it's better they don't understand what you're saying, because when you're asking for adjustments, and they're like, I don't know if you said wedge or track, well, I'm just going to let it alone, and you go out there and win races. But congrats, man, and here's to a championship and a bunch of wins, and stop back in and let us know what the next step is, because it seems like regardless of what you're doing, there's a next step somewhere.
I appreciate it. It means a lot.
All right, man.